Okay, here we go. Let's do this thing. We're in the home stretch of today. So I will tell you, every time we do these, I think as a teacher, I will finish something like this and I'll go, all right, what went really well in that? What could we have done different? What could we have improved? And how did the audience receive these things? I know one of the things about the Leadership Academy is it is totally taking a drink from the fire hose. I will also say that it's an intense thing, and the things that we're talking about and just the breadth of things that we've talked about today can be intense, especially when you add it all together. And this is, there are other things we talked about doing, like along the way when we planned this last year, we talked about having, books to read and different things. And I thought, man, looking back on it now, it might have been a little too much even. But I will say, if you want to be challenged more, we do have some books to read that would be good for you. He and I both have crazy libraries of things that we could pull various things out of and encourage you to read and to dig deeper, not just as a leader, but just spiritually, and to be spiritually challenged. Challenge is good. It gets us out of ruts. It gets us moving in right direction. To be challenged by God spiritually is good. He refines us in that, and to not be stagnant. And so, but if you are topped out at the end of these days, I understand that too. But just again, remember, everything we're doing is a spiritual thing. This is a spiritual thing. And there are going to be forces that come against to kind of pound there. But be encouraged. There's great, exciting things on the horizon here. And I'm excited about what God's doing. And again, I'll say I'm thankful for you and that you're here. So what we want to do is, I'm just going to hand it over to Kirk and let him explain this. This last piece of today, we've got a little less than an hour to finish this up. But I think it's going to be a useful leadership exercise. And it will also be useful for us too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got two different case studies, so not every table got the same case study. The first thing I need you to do is to designate in your table a spokesperson, a communicator, that will represent your table in the things that you have discussed. So notice that you're pointing at each other. I like that very much. That's good leadership. You will do this, right? I'm volunteering you. Let me talk about the case studies real quick. Now, part of this is, and Spencer talks about this all the time, when he goes to conferences and he talks to church planters.
Hang on, guys. Bring it back. Hey, children, bring it back.
Lost you.
Is that communicator? The communicators are all talking.
Yes. High eyes, zip it. I'm sorry. Moving on.
Kirk has a process he's trying to go through here.
Right, exactly. Don't mess with my process. Once you've identified the communicator, these two case studies are real things that they discuss in conferences for church planners. They are typical things that might happen in a church our size. One of them is a case study from, some of you have the NCC Giving Newer Community Church. It's about tithes and offering and problem solving through that, based on some different scenarios there. So how many of you, what tables have the Newer Community Church? Okay. And then the other one is the Winner Community Church, WCC.
That's a wiener.
Yeah, in Wiener, Iowa. He said Wiener. Winner Community Church is about the children's program. How many people have that? Which tables have that? Okay. So, well, you're not really at a table.
You guys probably need to come join a table.
Please join the table. Come join the table. You can choose based on which one you want. So here's what I want you to do. Read through it. Make sure you're very clear at your table what the background is. What's the information that you do have. And then you have questions at the bottom that you need to discuss and complete. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to do that for, what's our time? We're going to do that for 15 minutes. 15 minutes to discuss the background, go through the questions, you can and are encouraged to. Biblically, there are things that you want to examine as part of these as well, and those are important if you want to jump into that. But know this about these kinds of things. We're just here, this is a laboratory, right? So we have opinions, we have thoughts, we have background. We're just in for a discussion. We want a good, healthy discussion, and we want to talk through these things, and we'll diagnose for these after we're done. Any questions on these?
Does that mean we won't get a failing grade?
No failing grade. Spencer might have one in his mind, but he will not articulate it.
And these are not necessarily our story. They're components of it. It's intended that way. But these are good exercises to work through and to identify. I will say one last thing about it, and that is often when we have a problem to solve as leaders, no one gives us the sheet. Usually we have to identify the problem and articulate what is the problem and what are we going to do about it. So some of it's been done for you, but this is the meat of it, of what do we do now. So 15 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Oh wait, which one did you have? Yeah.
Giving.
So yeah, as long as all of them. Yeah.
So I can't just read anything you mentioned?
You can.
Okay, we're bring it back. So we're going to. This is the way we're going to go through it.
If you want to walk around, I will do lip syncing for you as if
Oh, it's great. Like, I don't need to walk around. I just feel like it sometimes. Okay, here's what we're going to start with. I am going to read the case study we will start with, and we will have the tables that have this case study go through their ideas and concepts, but I will read the case study so that the other tables know which one it is. So we're going to start with Winner, not Wiener. Winner Community Church. This is the children's program. Winner Community Church is a thriving church in the small town of Winner, Iowa. Winner is a commuter town that's known for its reputation for its school and safe community. WCC has a weekly worship attendance of 450 people between two services. 1/3 of the weekend total attendance are children ranging from infants to 5th grade. WCC has grown rapidly from a core group of 4 families to the current attendance run rate. They continue to see 4 to 6 new families visit the church every weekend. WCC is contemplating adding new services as it continues to grow to meet the continued influx of families who are seeking God. Before WCC adds new services, a careful review of their existing service offerings reveal that volunteers for its children's ministry are in short supply. On a weekly basis, the coordinator is constantly searching for volunteers to teach in the 6 classrooms used for the children's program. Statistically, there should be about 300 adults to pull from every week to serve, but the coordinator struggles to get a target of 24 and often ends up making it work with 14 and has to miss personal worship time in order to cover gaps. WCC is a church that believes in the importance of teaching the Bible to children starting at a young age and desires to have a consistent base of volunteers that love children and desire to see them discover God and develop a stronger relationship with Him. discover God and develop. WCC wants to have a first-class children's ministry so that families can grow together and can have a long life walk with Christ. Okay, that's the case study. Now the questions are very similar for both of them. The questions to consider are, what are possible reasons or assumptions why WCC is having challenges getting enough volunteers? Second question is, are there any underlying causes to WCC's problem? And the third is, what are some options for WCC to get to their goal of more volunteers? And the fourth question is, as a leader, why is children's ministry important to the overall church offering and experience? Okay, those are the questions. Which table that has this case study would like to start first? Okay, the one that has John, which I imagine is, who's the spokesperson there? Susan.
Hey, can we give some ground rules
That's
for
fine.
this? We don't have a lot of time. Answers need to be pretty succinct and clear. And if you have the same answer, you don't need to give the same answer, you know, but let's work through them, but real nice and concise if we can. Okay? All right. And, oh, we need a microphone.
Oh yeah. John, did you put that one back in the booth? Okay.
Give us just a second. Hey, well,
Susan can overcome her shyness.
hey, while John's getting a microphone, let me tell you something cool. So when the team, the missions team, got to the airport, checked the phone to see what time it was. Guess what time it was?
You got this Facebook post too.
No, isn't that cool? You're fired. All right.
You must leave now.
Susan, we're all yours.
Okay, I felt like the first two questions we had similar answers to, so they kind of go together. We think that people think they will miss their worship time if they volunteer in children's ministry, that they'll get sucked in and they'll never be able to come to church. We also think that parents tend to think that when they come to church, it's their time to be away from their kids because they're always with their kids. So that's really the...
Okay.
Yeah, and then for some options for getting people to volunteer, we talked about several things. Really stressed laying out the responsibilities of working in the children's ministry so people know what to expect, because maybe people think if they volunteer they'll have to teach a class or they'll have to change a poopy diaper or whatever. So just being clear what it means to volunteer in particular areas, you know, in the children's ministry. We thought it would be a great idea to put on the forms that the parents have to fill out. John said to put, what weeks are you willing to serve in children's ministry? So like, make it so it's almost a necessity, I guess, for them to do it. Mandatory participation for all parents who put kids in there, that was one suggestion. When you sign up, have it just be for once a month or once every 6 weeks so you don't feel like you're going to be in there every week. You know, have it maybe you sign up for the first Sunday of every month or something like that, so it's just once a month and you don't have to be constantly pulled back there. John also suggested shutting down kids ministry for a week and see how that goes.
See if you can live with that.
We call, you know what you call that? Family week, family worship time.
I wouldn't come that week.
Your attendance goes down 200
I'm watching
that week
online that
after.
week.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing, why do we offer children's ministry? Why is it important? It brings families to church because a lot of times people start coming to church when they have kids because they think, oh, someone's got to teach my kids about God. So it brings families into the church, and they are the next generation of church leaders. And if all the kids were in church with us, we would lose people because, frankly, they would be a distraction. I mean, not every single kid, but all the little kids running around would be a distraction, and people wouldn't come to church.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Go next? Okay, Nance.
I just wanted to bust John out on the microphone, so. Let's see. Crossing off what she said that we had written down as well. The first question, possible reasons. People are concerned with disciplining other people's children.
Okay.
or they may not feel qualified to lead children. Jan Lee said that, children may come with questions that as adults we should know the answer to, but we don't, so there's that fear and embarrassment. A second question, underlying causes. A seeker church is the people are limited in their experience and spiritual maturity to step up and serve. Let's see, third one, options to get the goal. Try to see what she didn't say. To build confidence in the volunteers and what they can and cannot do. Last one, as a leader, why is children's ministry important? Because children are important to God, and their view of the world gets set early, and it's our job to make sure that their view is lined up with God's view. And my favorite one, what Crystal said, is when children love something, it'll bring the adults back and the parents back. So that's all we got. Is that
Awesome.
appropriate, John?
He left. You scared him. He had to go hide. Who's next? Who would like the mic next?
Great
from
job, guys.
Their table. Steve Boyster.
All right, I'm being told to be great. Is it okay for me to tell him to shut up?
You just
saying. Aaron, shut up. All right. On the first question, what possible reasons, assumptions why WCC is having challenges getting enough volunteers? A couple of things that have not been mentioned were some people are just, some, not all, are just a little bit on the selfish side. They feel entitled to worship with kids that have kids instead of leading. So with that, maybe similarly offer a sign-up sheet where it's not mandated, but highly encouraged to at least volunteer 1 week per month. Another issue is maybe there's not quality help due to the fact that maybe there's an issue with a background check. Possibly when we get a security ministry together, we can offer some sense of confidentiality for minor things, have some discussion, open discussion about that. Underlying issues, the WCC's issues are fast growth without volunteers or planning. And as a leader, why is children's ministry important to the overall church offering and experience is simply just as our salvation hangs in the balance, so does theirs.
It's good. Good job.
Very good.
All right. Who is left on this one? Scoop? Okay.
I think all three of the tables have pretty much covered what we've got. There was a couple more. If you don't specifically ask somebody, they don't feel led to do that. So if you were to just walk up and say, hey, would you mind doing this? If you were to show them where they're not getting tied down, saying, look, we've got X amount of people, it's on paper where they can see, hey, we only have to serve once or twice, in a length of time. They don't feel that tied down. They feel they can do that. People that may already be in other ministries feel, hey, I'm in this ministry already. I don't need to go do that. Sometimes you have to sacrifice and cross over to different ministries to help out. And this is all important because the children's ministry is the future of this church. If we're not willing to sacrifice for these kids, 40 years from now, when most of us are done with this, we're leaving it to them. And if we're not willing to invest in them, then the church will die.
Yeah. Good. Good job, guys. Were there any other tables that had that one that didn't talk? Okay. Awesome.
So, one of the things we're seeing is, and the statistics are showing, Barna does a lot of church statistics, that a worldview, a Christian worldview or a worldview is formed in these years that we have kids in our ministry. And so these case studies are obviously, there are elements that are right on exactly that we experience here. Some of them are a little different. But you can look at this and go, wow, these are the kind of things that we have to problem solve for. Really, these kind of things, I think, my experience in ministry is that 80% of it is problem solving.
Yeah.
Because it's just, hey, guess what? The tire blew out. What do? We got 15 minutes to change it. Boom. Here's 10 solutions. This is one we choose, and boom. That happens all the time, small and big. These kind of scenarios where you go, you're at this stage. This is the new season. We're ushering this in. What do we do about where we're at and how it's going? We've been blessed with people that love children here. We've been blessed with lots of children here. And so these kind of things, when we look at all these things, these are true. These are discussions that we have, and it's good for us to be able to weigh in and see it sometimes from this viewpoint. There's a lot of you that actually volunteer and work in these ministries. And it's hard for us to say, we value kids and they're so important to us, and then we don't spend any time really making that a first-class ministry. It has to be a first-class ministry, and we have to figure out ways to get more people involved and do things. And we have to do things differently than we have done before. Yeah. So these are things that really have good feedback. That was very good feedback, spot on in a lot of different ways we've had discussions.
And more than just feedback for us, I think it's for you to explore these things as leaders and be asking hard questions. What can we do? How do we take it to the next level? Where do we grow? What are the problems? Anytime you look at something and it's just not where you want it to be, you have to identify what's going well and what's not. One of the things, if we had more time, we could have made a larger case study, and part of the question would be, what's going really, really well in this? Like, if this were our story, there's all kinds of things we could say, here are the things that are going exceptionally well. Why is it important you define what's really good, not just what's bad? So you don't focus on the negative. Good. What else? What? Build on the good stuff. And you don't want to change what's good. Sometimes when you get into problem-solving mode, you just go, well, we'll just scrap the whole thing, we'll start over. That's usually not the best way, although that can be good sometimes. But you have to figure out what's really good and leave that be, and then fix the things that need help. But part of growing as leaders is being able to identify a problem and ask hard questions. And this is really just an example to be able to teach you how to do that.
Yep. Good question to go through. You want to go to the next one?
Sure.
Anybody have any feedback on that one at all? They want to say something about?
Just the one thing, like, just what you heard, is like if something's good, you don't want to change it, but you still want to improve it.
Sure.
And that's the one thing that I think, even if people say, oh wow, remix is going really good, we look and say, well, what can we do to improve it?
Right.
I think that's the mindset we have to keep too, because it's
Yep.
improving the process, so not just saying, all right, it's good, let's move on, because
Right.
That's just kind of, I want to make sure.
Absolutely. And even just, Renew in general, it's really good. It's just moving the right way. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't work and continue to, tighten things down and make sure. I spent a lot of years before ministry. It was my job to go into a business that was floundering and fix it. That's what I did. But part of that was not coming in and just going, okay, everything you do is stupid. Let's just start over. But to isolate what's really good and use that as a jumping off point. But you didn't want to change what was really good. You wanted to change what was broken, and then after that is the case, bring it together and continue to grow it. But it is a trick sometimes, and it's hard to do, to isolate what's not good away from what is good and not just change everything carte blanche. So it's good. All right, next one.
Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Here is the one on giving. Newer Community Church is a growing church in a small town of Newark, Connecticut. Newark is a fast-growing town with many new families and people moving to the area due to the thriving economy. Because of the rapid growth, Newark is a melting pot of backgrounds with a high population of unchurched people. NCC, which is Newark Community Church, is a 3-year-old church that is seeker-friendly with a large population. 70% of them are unchurched, dechurched, or new believers. NCC has a weekly worship attendance of 400 people between 3 services. NCC is growing quickly and wants to expand its service offerings in order to meet the needs of the community, but is challenged because their weekly giving is lower compared to other churches its size in the area. To add additional services and provide more ministry opportunities, NCC would need to add staff and other resources in order to meet the ever-increasing needs in the community. Statistically, the average weekly giving per person in American churches is $25. For a church like NCC with a weekly attendance of 400, the weekly giving should be around $10,000 per week, which is 400 times $25. Currently, the average weekly offering is $5,800 per week, or $14.50 per person. So the questions to consider are, as a leader, why is giving tithes and offering to the church important? The second question, what are possible reasons why NCC is having challenges with its giving? Third question is, are there any underlying causes to NCC's problem? And fourth is, what are some options for NCC to change the financial footprint of their church?
So we've got about 15 minutes to finish this. So where's the microphone?
Who wants
Okay.
to start? Back here? Okay, we'll start with David Elliott.
Okay, so on the as a leader, why is giving tithes and offerings to the church important? First, scripturally, is Malachi 3:10, which I'm sure we all know. Bring your tithes and offerings to the church, and I will test me in this, and I will open the floodgates to you. Secondly, is it's not our money in the first place; it's God's, and we're just stewards of it. And thirdly, is it's required to further God's work. And fourthly, it helps us to take ownership when we are giving, and we're not just floating in and out. We take ownership of it. What are the possible reasons or assumptions why the church is having challenges with giving tithes and offerings? We came up with lack of enthusiastically communicating it in order to build an internal conviction and commitment. Previous bad experiences was another thing that we thought of, as well as it's a checkbox lifestyle. We just come in and you say, I went to church and I checked it off, and they just don't think tithes are important. Are there any underlying causes to this problem? One was education. They've not been informed of why it's important. Two, being prayerful about it. And three, the communication factor again. And then the last one was, what are some options for the church to change the financial footprint of their church? Number one was prayer. Two was create an open door to speak with those who are struggling with tithing, those who don't understand or have complications with, maybe some other reason, but they don't know who to go to get that, they don't know. They just keep it internal, and if we don't know they're having problems, then we can't help them. So to have that announced to the church that there's an open door, if you don't understand, we have people to talk to you about it. Develop leaders to help. Number four, visit other churches who are successful and try to learn from their ways. And number five, have an envelope that you put your name on, and you now get a write-off from the IRS, and that also increases internal accountability. So those are our answers.
Awesome. Good job. Who's next? Okay, over here.
As a leader, why is tithing important? We also have that, we're instructed by Mark 12:17 to give to God what is God's. As leaders, we need to live what we're preaching and teaching, to set an example. And as leaders, we're able to reach more people using the money, meaning we can focus on taking care of community's physical needs in order to meet their spiritual needs. What are some possible reasons they're having these challenges? We have that lack of biblical knowledge or understanding, and also just lack of faith in general, which leads into what are the underlying causes. The pastor may not be teaching it because he may not feel comfortable teaching it, which would be the lack of faith. And the people may be scared that they'll not have enough money for their bills or food, which would again be the lack of faith. They also may not know the church's budget or its needs. So some options for them would be let the congregation know the cost of the ministries and teach the biblical concept of giving and teaching. Who's next?
Good job.
Good.
Dave's on his way.
We gave Dave a microphone.
I'll be brief. On the first one, you can't go onward and forward. You can't minister without it. It's a tool that's used by God to accomplish the ministry of the church. The church body can't grow without staff and infrastructure. The second one, people don't know to give. They don't know what is being done with the money. They don't know why is it being done. And most importantly, and this was kind of touched on, but there's just a distrust not only of MCC, but of churches and religiosity in general. People just don't trust. There's too many prosperity preachers messing up the ground for everybody else. Are there any underlying causes? This abuse that we just talked about. And people don't realize fully from a biblical perspective as well as from a physical and emotional perspective what the benefits are if they do give. And then lastly, options to change the financial footprint. Obviously, a lot more teaching on a wide variety of levels. A demonstration to not only demonstrate as the pastor gives offerings and tithes, but to demonstrate exactly what the outcome is, what is being, and lastly, to show what positive outcomes have taken place in the church and in the community. This is what we're doing with the money that you're giving. Look at all the positive things that have come about as a result of your willingness to give, and your continued giving allows this to continue.
Okay. Very good. You got one, is it just one table left? Okay.
Okay. First one, why is giving important? Well, first one is we're commanded by the Lord to give. And second, finances are needed to meet physical needs and to finance the church. What are possible reasons why the church is not giving? Could be a lack of teaching that was mentioned. Could be a correction for selfish believers. And could be, because it says possible reason, could be truly a poor congregation as a whole. Third question, y'all are going to laugh at me, but are there any underlying causes to the problem? I said, of course, all problems have causes. You didn't ask me what they were, you just asked
What
me.
are?
Yeah.
What are?
And I think the last one's the most important. What are some options for this church for the financial footprint to change? And I put, the financial footprint will change when the heart and the ability of the people change. I think both of those things have to happen. I mean,
That's good.
stingy people don't give. Untaught people don't give. They don't understand the need. Unlearned. And God's people have to have the ability to give.
Yeah.
You know, I've always taught all my life that the Christians should own every business in the town. We should be the bankers. We should own the companies. We should be, you know, we should own the place. The church should run the spiritual health, the economics, the finances, everything. Agriculture, education, we should be running the show in this city.
Yeah.
So we have to have the ability to give. People have to be faithful to their finances and faithful to God. And I'm preaching.
Good job.
And all the people said.
It's always that leftover you always said. Instead of
Yeah.
number one on the budget
Say it.
list, it's the last one on the budget.
Yeah, what Jason just said as he brought the microphone over was, you know, often we give our leftovers as opposed to first fruits. And that is a trust thing. It's a planning ahead thing, all that. And, you know, a couple that I had written down about NCC is that often people will say that they're going to give their time instead of their money. And I've heard that a lot over the years. And it's not an either or, it's really a both and. And the scriptures make it really clear it's not an either or, it's a both and type thing. And also vacation giving. I think, you know, part of a lot of what people think is that, again, that the church, not just this one, not just NCC or whatever the other one was, but the Wiener. The idea is that it's like a club, and when I go, I'll pay my dues. But if I don't go to the club, I don't pay any, I think it's really, part of it is an education that says, I make this much, I'm going to give this much, whether I'm in attendance or not. This is just a part of what I'm supporting because it's a ministry that I believe in, that I'm a functional part of the body of, and I'm going to give, if I make it 2 Sundays, because I'm on vacation 2 Sundays, but I'm given $500, that whole $500 goes, not just $250, because I only showed up 2 and 4. And I think that's an education thing, and that's a harder place to go, but it's necessary to get out of this is a club I belong to, and I pay my dues when I show up. It's not that at all. This is, I'm giving back to the Lord for what He's doing. So.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, and those are always tough ones. I mean, even when you talk about giving, that scratches a lot of people's wounds pretty easily. And I think, on a topic like that, as leaders, biblically understanding what we do, and just if we tie something like that in the case study back to things that we look at, we're going to teach another round of Financial Peace University, the Dave Ramsey program. The Addies are going to teach that, which Travis just signed them up this week, so they're going to lead that coming up this fall. We're going to start that sometime in September. Is that right? September. And being able to teach those things is really important. And then I think one of the problems we always have too is how much do you teach from the pulpit? So it doesn't sound like we're like everybody else in the world, the prosperity teachers have that balance of, well, it's all about money. It's not all about money. God has this, but you have to be able to teach and talk about truth. And truth is a hard one in that category. It's a hard one.
There's a lot there. Good case studies. Again,
really good feedback. Very much.
Not just our story. It's really they're realistic problems that most churches experience somewhere along the way. And the question for us as leaders is, how do we identify a problem and then ask God for the solution and then do something about it, rather than, it's not a Chicken Little thing, sky's not falling, to get out of that kind of fearful reaction. Instead, to prayerfully ask God to show direction and what do you do to change hearts in these areas and any other area. Even as we get ready to grow into multiple services, asking God, begin to work in the hearts of people so that they hear that and are excited about it, rather than, oh, this is just, they just want to grow and get bigger kind of thing. You'll hear all kinds of things in that. And so, I'll finish it up with this. Keep the vision of where we're going quiet for now. Multiple services, that doesn't need to filter out from you yet. Let me do that in vision casting time, and I will preach that and explain it as we get in. Just like we'll talk about giving and some of those things in the fall, and that are always important messages. But let me preach through that if you'll allow me to do that. Once that happens, as you interact with people that are freaked out or scared about it, hopefully you have heard the heart of this, and we are walking out. Even if you don't agree with us, hopefully we walk out the doors united. Right? This is where we started this whole leadership. We may not agree on everything, but the message is the same. We are united in the message. And so once that vision is cast, then you can help offset things, because people will talk to you and not me at times. Now, is that a good thing? No, I mean, really, if they have a problem with me, biblically, they need to come to me. But you can help offset some of that if they're just talking and whining like, oh, they just want to grow a bigger church or whatever. You can hopefully sit back and go, well, really, this is what this is about. Providing more opportunities for people to hear a message, or targeting, singles or young adults or whatever it is. Hopefully you can help with that. But keep that vision quiet for now. And then I have one last thing to say to be done. Do you have anything else? Okay, last thing is, tomorrow is going to be a great day. Be praying for tomorrow. Put it on your Saturday prayer list. Really, I would ask you to put it on your daily prayer list. Be praying for our missions team. But every day, pray for Renew. Would you do that? Like, just write a note somewhere. Every day, pray for Renew. Pray for the people here by name if you can, and if you think of them, even the ones you know. Pray that relationships will be expanded. Pray that hearts will be open. One of the things I've been praying a lot lately is that parable of the soil. That God will pluck the rocks out of the soil so that the seeds can take firm root. or that the weeds that are there are taken away so that when a seed takes growth, nothing hampers it. And even the seed that falls along the side of the road, the Holy Spirit blows it back into the dirt. And those things can grow, and that people will come along and water those things and give light to those things, whether it's they can continue to come here or somewhere else. Pray these things. Pray for us as leaders that we can lead well, that we're in tune with God, and that we're only saying the things He calls us to say, not out of our flesh, but out of what He's calling. I mean, these are daily things. Pray for growth. Not that we could just create a bigger church. I hope you have heard that clearly from me. That we're not just trying to create some bigger church so we can compare ourselves with the other churches in town and go, well, we're the biggest or we're the fastest growing. None of that is pride of man that will destroy you. It is, God, we want to see the lost saved. Is that the heart of God also? We want to see the saved mature and grow. Is that the heart of God also? Yes. And we want to see His people serve, diakonos, touch people's lives, live out their faith rather than just be a pew potato. Is that the heart of God too? Yes. This is what we're talking about. Pray for those things. Pray purposefully every day for these things. To me, this is one of the most important things you can do right now as a leader. Is to just be on your knees praying for all these things every day. Every day. Not once in a while. Every day. 9/11? Yeah. Pray then when you see it on the clock. But every day. Plan that out. So, I love you. I am thankful for you. I'm thankful you're a part of this. Let me know if you have questions or you're anxious or you need anything. And I know we went over a few minutes, but we got started a little late with the tire, but we pretty much got finished on time with that. So I apologize for that. If you signed up for a life group or an affinity group, we'll be in touch. Those C people, we'll be looking and we'll be in touch with you also to help us kind of go through these things. And if you didn't fill out that sheet and turn it in, if you still want to, you can do that today. Otherwise, bring it tomorrow and put it in Kirk's mailbox if you can. And tomorrow when you get here, try and come early and talk to people. Just introduce yourself. Hi, my name is, how long you been coming to Renew? You don't have to be a specific ministry leader to do that. That's just being a disciple. That's a disciple thing. Love on people. Love on people. And if that's uncomfortable for you, pray that God will give you a heart for people to introduce yourself to strangers. I know it's hard for some of you. Pray that God will overcome that in you. Okay? Let me pray and finish this up. God, we thank you for today. We thank you for all that you've done here. And as always, you exceed expectations when we bring it to you and ask you to move. I pray as we go from this place today, we'll be encouraged. I pray the devil will not have access anywhere in any one of us to discourage or discredit or cause disunity, but instead that we leave here excited about what you're about to do. That we remember what you've already done and we celebrate it. And just as we look around and just be in awe over what you've done in such a short amount of time, and to just dream about where we will be 3 years from now, God, it blows my mind. But God, it's all because of you. It's not me. It's not even the people in this room. It's because you have willed it and you are leading people to lead and to serve and to touch and to love and to proclaim you and your goodness. Let us be those people. Let this group of people be those people that will touch this church, that will touch the people that walk in the doors, that will touch their neighbors, their friends, and make an impact that will last forever and have a legacy effect where children and children's children will be in heaven because of the people in this room right now. Give us a heart for it, eyes to see, ears to hear, feet to go, where you want us to go and what you want us to do. We praise you for today. We praise you for what you're going to do tomorrow. Bring our families together. Bring our church together. Bring guests to hear good news, maybe for the first time. And help us to be in tune with no distractions, no disruptions, but just to be fully present with you. Begin preparing us now for tomorrow. We praise you for it all. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Have a great day. Thank you, guys.